police. We need to call the police.
Hi everyone, it's Greyson, and this is Greyson Talks Everything. If you're new to the channel, welcome, and if you're not new and are returning, welcome back. If you haven't already, do be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. And also follow my Instagram where you can get the latest updates on when videos of mine are coming out. And also to admire some fan art that I regularly post. Some should be showing up on the screen right now. The link to my Instagram is always in the description of my videos, but if you want to check that out right now, that should be showing up on the screen as well. Alright, let's get into it. Today we're talking about Loki episode 3. I'm breaking it all down and reviewing it. There is spoilers in there. I forgot to mention that a couple times, but it's always in the title. But yeah, sorry for this being a little late. That's my fault, but yeah, let's just get into this video. So, while this episode at first glance seemed pretty slow and anticlimactic, the episode still did set up the important structure of the show and did have 3 major reveals, and those were that Loki and Sylvie are finally bisexual in the official MCU canon, like they are in the comics and in Norse mythology, and that all the TVA agents, except for, I suspect, Judge Ravonna Renslayer, are all technically mind-wiped variants, and while her chosen name is Sylvie Laufeydaughter, she is still a Loki variant. Loki episode 3 picks up, for the most part, where the Disney Plus show's second episode left off. Using her bombing of the timeline as a distraction, Sophia DiMartino's Lady Loki / Sylvie, who the episode confirms is essentially inspired by both Lady Loki and Enchantress, both Thor villains from the Marvel Comics, infiltrates the TVA headquarters in search of a set of golden elevators that may or may not lead her to the Timekeepers. She takes out a handful of the TVA agents along the way in truly impressive fashion before finally reaching the elevators. Her quest for the Timekeepers is cut short, however, by the appearances of both Loki and Judge Renslayer. Hiddleston's Loki uses a moment of tension between Sylvie and Renslayer to steal Sylvie's TemPad and teleport the two of them out of the TVA, sending them to the worst of all of the historical apocalypses Sylvie had kept saved on time-hopping device. Loki and Sylvie arrive on the planet of Lamentis 1 in the year 2077, on the exact day that the planet is in the midst of being crushed and forever destroyed by its own disintegrating moon. In the comics, Lamentis is a planet located on the very outskirts of the Kree Empire. Its comics history isn't all that rich, though, as its appearance in 2007's Annihilation Conquest Prologue Issue 1 is the only time it's been featured up to this point. In Loki, Lamentis 1 is a purple planet that, since the series takes us to it on the eve of its destruction, has chunks of its moon constantly crashing into its surface like an endless barrage of missiles. Fortunately, the planet's chaotic destruction ultimately serves as the perfect backdrop for the tempestuous relationship forged by Loki and Sylvie throughout the episode. With Sylvie's TemPad in need of a desperate recharge, her and Loki's only hope for escaping the planet's destruction is in finding an energy source powerful enough to juice up the TemPad again. When that ultimately fails and the TemPad is seemingly destroyed, their chance at salvation becomes hopping on a ride on the Ark that's shortly set to depart the planet. Episode 3 uses Loki and Sylvie's journey across Lamentis 1 to establish and begin developing a relationship between the two characters. It's a bond that, at least at first, is pretty heavily in debt to the kind of Nora Ephron rom-coms and screwball comedies Loki head writer Michael Waldron has previously expressed admiration for. There's plenty of bickering throughout, and since these are 2 Loki variants we're dealing with, more than a few attempted betrayal. But the more time the two spend together, the more that Loki, as a show, continues its meta exploration of who Loki is as a character. Like, what exactly makes Loki a Loki? Sylvie notably asks at one point. The pair exchange stories about their childhoods and discuss how they each learn magic. We even learn that, according to Sylvie, she spent most of her life on the run from the TVA, which just raises even more questions about her history with the organization she aptly refers to as the boring, oppressive Time Police. All of this accumulates in a discussion between the two characters about, well, love. Sylvie hypothesizes that love may be nothing more than hate or mischief in the end, but Hiddleston's Loki still doesn't agree with those theories. However, after clumsily attempting to compare the emotion to an imaginary dagger, he ultimately ends the episode unsure of what he believes love really is. For a character who has spent most of his time in the MCU up to this point being evasive and mysterious about his feelings toward even those closest to him, it makes sense that Loki is finally forcing Hiddleston's god of mischief to define what he thinks love actually is. It's a seed that will, no doubt, pay off by the time Loki Season 1 comes to an end. As interesting as Loki Episode 3's discussion of love are, it's the TVA revelation in the episode's final act that ultimately makes the biggest impact. We are, of course, referring to Sylvie's reveal that the TVA's agents weren't actually created by the Timekeepers, but are all variants like she and Loki. Marvel fans have been speculating that might be the case ever since the series premiered at the start of June. So have I, to be fair. And Sylvie's announcement in Loki Episode 3 is the confirmation we've all been waiting for. The reveal presents just one more reason not to trust anything that we were told about the TVA in the first 2 episodes of Loki. If the TVA agents weren't created by the Timekeepers, but are just captured variants who had their mind memories wiped, then there's little to no reason to believe the organization's origins are as simple and as straightforward as its propaganda videos claim to be. In fact, the ongoing theory is that the Timekeepers aren't even real in the first place, which is it's looking pretty convincing to think about it right now. Unfortunately, how exactly Hiddleston's Loki will share this newfound information with Mobius and the other TVA agents is a problem for another time. First, he and Sylvie will need to figure out how to get off Lamentus 1 alive following the destruction of their only escape vehicle at the end of Loki Episode 3. So that's my review and breakdown of Loki Episode 3. What did you think? Share your thoughts down below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and share and all that fun stuff. And also again, follow my Instagram, again, where you can get the latest updates on when videos of mine are coming out, and also to admire some fan art of mine that I regularly post. Alright, bye everyone.